Revealed. How my daughter-in-law's actions exposed hidden truths after my 4 million lottery win. Tom Henderson never imagined he would find a 4 million lottery ticket tucked away in his old workbench, a dusty relic of years spent crafting wonders with his hands. At 65, he had poured his soul into woodworking, creating pieces that provided solace for himself and joy for others. The ticket lay there, almost mocking him with its promise of unimaginable wealth, and in that moment feelings of joy mixed with fear tightened his chest. The news of his win spread through their close-knit suburban neighborhood like wildfire. Neighbors gathered on porches, gathered around barbecue grills, their voices filled with a mix of excitement and disbelief. "Did you hear about Tom? 4 million!" they exclaimed, their arms waving dramatically. Most remembered his unwavering support for local veterans and countless charitable acts. But as he grinned at the congratulatory words flung his way, he felt a growing unease. That unease only deepened when he saw Jessica, his daughter-in-law. Known for her strong ideals of hard work and independence, she seemed to carry a cloud. When they were face to face, the warmth Tom expected was replaced by a cold stare. "Congratulations, Tom. But have you thought about what this means? This money could change things," she said tersely, her tone filled with suspicion. It struck him hard, an unexpected jab to the gut, mixing anger with confusion. "Jessica, I plan to share this with the family, support those in need," he tried to explain, but she interrupted him. "You think that's enough? You think you're immune to how this will twist relationships? This is a curse dressed up like a blessing," she shot back. Each word was like a hammer, breaking down the foundations of their once tight family ties. Outside, the barbecues had turned into whispers. "He's going to get caught up in it," one neighbor said, shaking their head. Tom felt a tight chest, the old prejudices bubbling up like the smoke from the grills. His heart pounded as the weight of judgment pressed down. Had he really been blind to the impact of his past actions? The confrontation with Jessica left him reeling. Tension simmered, stirring up resentments and sacrifices buried too deep for too long. Memories of how hard he worked, often at the expense of relationships, flooded back. Did he take them for granted? Did he let pride cloud his judgments? Then came the moment of greatest impact. An old neighbor, one he had wronged in the past, stood up and publicly criticized him. "You think you're above us now, Tom? This money will reveal your true self," they stated with sarcasm dripping from their lips. The room fell silent, the air thick with discomfort. Tom wanted to scream to defend himself, but all he felt was shame. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As Tom faced these swirling thoughts, the stakes felt higher than ever. He found himself at a crossroads. Would he cling to past grievances, feeding into the conflict, or seize this chance to mend the rifts in his family? Would he stand tall against the fear and resentment, turning this unexpected fortune into a lesson of healing? The answers hung in the air, precarious, waiting to be revealed. Would he be able to change, to seek understanding? The community buzzed with anticipation, all eyes on Tom as he prepared to decide his fate. Tom stood there, the murmurs echoing in his ears like distant thunder. He felt the weight of everyone's gaze, a mix of curiosity and judgment, pressing down against him. It was dizzying. For years he had prided himself on being a good man, a community pillar. Now, with one lottery ticket, a simple slip of paper, everything felt different. Jessica's words haunted him, circling like vultures. Could this money really be a curse? The thought lingered, probing at his heart. He clutched the ticket in his pocket, its edges crinkling against the fabric. This was supposed to be a moment of joy, a chance to help those he loved. Instead, it felt more like a noose tightening around his neck. His family had always been his fortress, a group of people who loved him despite his flaws. But now, with every passing minute, that fortress seemed to tremble under the weight of doubt. He dialed back the memories, the birthdays he missed, the arguments over trivial things, the times he chose work over family gatherings. Were these choices now coming back to haunt him? Suddenly, he decided he needed to talk to Jessica. Heated words had split them apart, but perhaps they could find common ground. Taking a deep breath, he strode toward her. "Jessica," he called out, his voice steady but soft. She turned around, wariness etched across her face. "Can we talk? Just you and me." The group of neighbors surrounding the barbecue fell silent, watching intently. Jessica hesitated, then nodded, stepping away from the throng and following him toward a quieter part of the backyard, under a large oak tree that had stood for years a witness to so many family moments. "Listen," Tom began, running a hand through his hair. "I know this money changes things, but I'm not trying to become someone different. I want to be better." Jessica crossed her arms, her expression a mix of skepticism and concern. "That sounds noble, Tom. But you can't just throw money at problems and expect them to go away," she replied, her voice calm yet firm. "I get that," he replied quickly, desperation creeping into his tone. "I've messed up before, I know that. But this win, it's a chance to mend things and help people. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I just want to do right." Her gaze softened just slightly. "You talk about helping others, but what about us? What do you want from this?" "I want to reconnect with this family," he said, voice cracking a little. "I want to apologize for the times I wasn't there for you, for my son. I don't want money to come between us. I want to lift us up. I hope this could be a new beginning." Jessica studied him, the silence stretching like a rubber band ready to snap. Tom's heart raced, fearing her next words. She finally let out a long breath, uncrossing her arms, and he dared to hope. "Okay," she whispered, a hint of vulnerability shining through. "But it's going to take more than words. You'll need to show us." Before Tom could answer, a commotion broke out nearby. The neighbors were gathering again, their excitement building once more. But this time he sensed something different. It felt like a ripple in the energy, a change in the air. "What is happening?" he asked, looking back at Jessica. "Let us find out," she said, guiding him back toward the crowd. As they emerged from under the oak, Tom's stomach knotted. Excitement buzzed around him, but the uncertainty of their conversation lingered. Would this really be a new beginning for him and his family? The energy surged, and the people parted to reveal a stranger standing at the center of the yard. A man with a broad smile and a clipboard. Tom's heartbeat amplified. Who was this man, and what did he want with the neighborhood? "Excuse me," the man called, drawing everyone's undivided attention. "I have news that could change everything." As he stepped forward, uncertainty washed over Tom. What kind of news could possibly be hiding in the air? The crowd shifted, eyes lighting up with curiosity and intrigue. Tom felt the heat radiating from their stares, but this time it was mixed with an electric expectation. He took a step forward, compelled by a force he couldn't quite name, needing to know what this stranger had to say. "Hello, everyone," the man announced cheerfully, sliding his clipboard under his arm. "I'm Greg from the state lottery office. I'm here to discuss some exciting community initiatives that come with your recent lottery win." Tom blinked, trying to process the words. Community initiatives? So it wasn't just about the money, it was about what could come next. He felt Jessica's tension beside him, her body rigid as she absorbed the news. "What do you mean by initiatives?" she asked sharply, her voice cutting through the light-hearted atmosphere. "Great question," Greg replied with a grin, clearly unfazed. "Your win opens up numerous opportunities for you as a community. We're collaborating with winners like yourself to invest in local projects that can benefit everyone, from upgrading parks to funding educational programs." The air thickened with murmurs of approval, and Tom's mind raced. This was more than he'd anticipated. Hadn't he just spoken about lifting up his family? Could this be the way to extend that idea beyond his household? He felt a tremor of hope, but a nagging doubt curled around it. Greg continued, "We're also organizing a town meeting next week to brainstorm some of these projects. I invite all of you to participate. It's a chance to share your vision and come together as a community." Tom's heart pounded as excitement rippled through the crowd like a wave. People began to chatter, sending ideas ricocheting through the air, but he found it hard to focus. His thoughts lingered on his family, especially on Jessica and how this would affect their fragile reconciliation. "What do you think?" Jess whispered, her arms steadying at her sides now, her voice low enough that only Tom could hear. "I think it could be a start," he responded, trying to mask his own uncertainty. But I don't want to force anything. I hear you, she replied softly, her gaze piercing. But this could also be a distraction. We need to make sure we don't lose sight of what's really important to us. Tom nodded, feeling the gravity of her words. He didn't want to be suddenly swept away by good intentions. The reality of being a family, repairing what had been fractured, weighed heavily on him. We'll take it step by step, he promised, looking into her eyes. I'll show you what this means to me. As the cheers shifted back to Greg and the burgeoning excitement among their neighbors, Tom felt a stirring of purpose. He didn't need riches to validate him. He needed to be present for his family first. But could he balance that with newfound responsibilities that came with the money? Just then, Greg called out again, and don't forget. This win means you're eligible for something special just for the family. He chuckled, scanning the crowd. Think perhaps a family trip, something to make memories together. The buzz picked up again, a rising tide of ideas, the whispers of vacation destinations swirling around him. Tom stood still, rooted in place. He couldn't help but think. Was this the start of something new? Or was it just another layer of distraction masking deeper issues? As he stepped back, he caught sight of his son Noah, standing at the edge of the group, watching with a frown. It struck Tom then, the truth he hadn't truly acknowledged: his family needed more than financial blessings. They needed connection, honesty, and time to heal. Before he could reach out to Noah, Greg's voice rose again, and remember, just wait until you hear about those surprise giveaways we're planning. You won't want to miss out. Tom inhaled deeply, a mixture of anxiety and anticipation filling his chest. What surprises awaited his family? How would they come together as they embarked on this unexplored journey? With a growing sense of unease, he turned to Jessica, ready to voice his thoughts when suddenly Noah stepped forward, an uncertain expression clouding his face. Dad, he hesitated. What if the money isn't the answer we think it is? Tom's stomach lurched. Was this the soft echo of his own unspoken fears? Or was there something deeper simmering in his son's words? The crowd swelled around them, high on possibilities, but Tom stood frozen, caught between what could be and what had to be confronted. Would he turn a blind eye to Noah's worries? Or could this be the moment that truly defined their future, not just as a family but as a community? With the weight of his decision heavy, Tom faced his son, feeling the intensity of the questions lurking beneath Noah's gaze. What truth lay behind his words? And even more frightening, was Tom ready to confront it? The crowd around them continued to buzz, voices rising and falling like waves against the shore. But Tom felt his world tilt on its axis. Noah's question lingered, heavy and uncertain. What if the money wasn't the answer? The thought made Tom's heart race, echoing with his own doubts about their future. Noah shifted his weight, casting a glance toward the growing excitement around Greg. Maybe it's not just about the money, Dad. Maybe it changes things that can't be fixed by spending. Jessica, sensing the deepening discomfort, reached out, her fingers brushing against Tom's arm. He could see the worry etched across her face. She was reading Noah's body language, the way his shoulders slumped slightly, as if he carried a burden too heavy for his young age. Look, kid, Tom said at last, voice steady but gentle. I get that there are lots of unknowns. But we can make choices together. We're a team. We don't have to let this win drive us apart. Noah's frown deepened, revealing the uncertainty that had been lurking just beneath the surface. But what if it makes us forget what really matters? Like family dinners or game nights? I don't want things to change. A realization struck Tom like a flash of lightning. What good was a windfall if it shattered the foundations of his family? He'd spent so long dreaming of a better life for them, only to realize now that love, connection, and shared moments were what truly defined their lives together. We can be smart about this, Tom said, his voice firming up. We need to set rules for how we handle things. This money doesn't have to change who we are. Jessica nodded slowly, her eyes glistening. It's not about what we have but what we do with it. We just need to keep talking, to keep being honest with each other. Tom glanced around the crowd, the excitement still alive in the air. He wanted to feel that thrill, but he could also see the risk of being swept away by distractions. It was crystal clear now. They needed to stay anchored. He turned back to Noah, sensing a path forward. Why don't we start at home? Tom suggested. Let us think of a few small ways we can celebrate this together. Not just with money but by spending time as a family. What about a game night this weekend? Just us, no distractions? We can share our ideas and fears then. Noah's expression softened, and he nodded, the tension slowly easing from his shoulders. That sounds good. Great. Jessica agreed, her smile returning. And we can take part in that town meeting too, right? Just to understand more about what we can do with this win. It's important to stay involved. Tom felt the weight in his chest lighten at their shared agreement. Yes, absolutely. We'll make sure we're part of the conversation. And we'll do it together. As the crowd around them cheered for giveaways and community projects, Tom felt a sense of calm wash over him. They might not have all the answers and the journey ahead was uncertain, but one thing had become clear. Amidst all the changes, the magic lay in their unity. Just as Tom began to feel a sense of hope, Greg's voice rang out again, this time more serious. I urge you all to think of how you'll use this opportunity. You could, for example, create that special community project that embodies your values. Tom's heart raced again, but not with anxiety. This was the moment he knew was coming. What would they choose? How could they channel their win into a positive impact? And more importantly, how could they make sure their bond stayed strong against whatever challenges lay ahead? As those questions lingered in the air, he turned back to his family, a new light spark igniting in his heart. Would they step up, face the expectations together, and forge a new path? Or would the pull of their win lead them into unfamiliar territory and risk unraveling what they had worked so hard to mend? Could they turn this lottery win into a catalyst for unity rather than division? The next few days would not only set the course for their family, but resonate through their entire community as well. With determination in his eyes, Tom took a deep breath. Let us figure this out together, he whispered to Jessica and Noah. Ready to embark on the next chapter of their lives. Only now, they would navigate it as a team. But as they stepped away from the crowd, a thought nagged at Tom. What if this was just the beginning of something much bigger? One that would challenge everything they thought they knew. Tom didn't sleep well that night. The shadows danced on the walls, echoing his spinning thoughts. He turned over, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of uncertainty heavy on his chest. He wasn't just worried about the lottery winnings. It felt like there was more at stake: their family dynamics, the relationships they held dear, and the very foundation of their lives. By morning, the sunlight poured through the window, teasing a new day. But the possibilities it brought only filled Tom with apprehension. He crept quietly into the kitchen, where Jessica had already started brewing coffee. The rich aroma filled the air, and he inhaled deeply, trying to shake off the remnants of doubt. Morning, Jessica said, her smile kind but with a touch of weariness. How did you sleep? Not great, he admitted, running a hand through his hair. Just thinking about everything. How we'll manage the win and what it means for us. Jessica nodded slowly, understanding. It's a lot to process. But I believe we can make this work, Tom. We just need to stay focused on what matters. Before he could respond, they heard Noah shuffling down the stairs. His hair was tousled and he rubbed his sleepy eyes. What's for breakfast? He asked, yawning. Pancakes, Jessica replied. But first we need to talk. About the money? Noah inquired, a hint of trepidation in his voice. About everything, Tom interjected. How we move forward as a family. They sat down together, and Tom noticed the spark of concern in Noah's eyes. What do you think we should do with it? Noah asked, apprehensively pushing his pancake around the plate. Honestly? Tom paused, weighing his words carefully. I think we should consider donating a portion to a local cause. Something that benefits our community, maybe a project that helps families just like ours. Like what? Noah pressed, his curiosity piqued. What about a community garden? It could bring people together and help those who struggle to put food on the table, Jessica suggested, her eyes lighting up. That could work, Noah agreed, nodding. There was a glimmer of hope in his expression, as if he could see the seeds of positive change sprouting right before him. Yet, amidst their conversation, a seed of doubt still took root inside Tom. What if their generous intentions faltered? What if the attention brought by their win attracted jealous hearts and shady motives? As they discussed further, Tom's mind wandered back to the town meeting later that week. Would the other residents embrace their ideas, or ridicule them? The thought pained him. Every decision felt increasingly like a tightrope walk, and he still kept one eye on the ground, fearful of what awaited if they lost their balance. Just then, Jessica's phone buzzed on the table. She picked it up, her expression changing in an instant. "It's my sister," she said. "She wants to talk." "It sounds important." Tom's stomach nodded. Family dynamics could be tricky. What would her sister want? Would it draw them into unexpected complications, especially now? "Okay," he said cautiously. "Let us hear it." As Jessica spoke softly on the phone, Tom exchanged glances with Noah. There was tension in the air, an undercurrent of questions left unanswered. Would they remain united through the repercussions of their win, or was an unseen storm brewing just beyond their doorstep? Just as Jessica hung up, a feel of dread crept back into the room. She said, "There are rumors about our win. Some people are already unhappy about it. It's creating a divide," she revealed, a tremor escaping her voice. Noah's brows knitted together. "What do we do about it?" Tom felt a chill race down his spine. They had begun this journey with hope, but now it seemed fraught with challenges. "We show them we're not just winners," he said, voice steady, though uncertainty clung to every word. "We show our community we care." As they stared at each other, determination grew, but so did fear over the unknowns. It was a fine line between their dreams and the realities of life that had suddenly shifted. Tom could only hope their unity would shine through, but as he looked at his family, the question loomed larger than ever. Could their bond really withstand the chaos on the horizon? And before any of them could share their thoughts, the phone buzzed again and Tom's heart raced. What could it be now? Tom glanced at Jessica, who looked just as startled as he felt. "Who could that be?" she murmured, glancing at her phone's screen again. "Maybe it's someone from the community or your sister again," he suggested, his pulse quickening at the thought of another bombshell. With a cautious swipe, Jessica answered. "Hello?" She listened intently, her expression shifting from confusion to wary concern. "What's wrong?" Tom asked, tension knotting in the pit of his stomach. Jessica frowned, her body stiffening. It's a friend from work. She heard about the rumors and there are some people saying bad things about us." Tom's heart sank. He could feel the walls of their home closing in. It had barely been a day since their win, and already it felt like they were under siege. "What kind of things?" Noah asked, voice trembling slightly. Jessica hesitated, then spoke as if the words were hard to swallow. "That we're greedy, that we don't deserve the money, that we're only trying to make ourselves look good with charity." "Who's saying these things?" Tom pressed, a protective instinct rising within him. Jessica shook her head. "I don't know all the names. Some folks from the neighborhood, it seems like they're trying to dig up dirt on us." The weight of it all crashed down on Tom like a wave. They had planned to take steps forward, to help others, and here they were, facing attacks they hadn't anticipated. Noah's face mirrored Tom's, a mix of fear and anger. "That's not right. We're just trying to do something good." "I know," Jessica replied softly, reaching out to grasp Noah's hand. "But when you win a lot of money, not everyone is going to celebrate. Some might feel resentful or threatened." Tom took a deep breath, feeling a surge of protectiveness for his family. "Look," he said, "we can't let this stop us. We have to stand by what we believe in. We've got good intentions here." "But what if it backfires?" Noah asked, concern etching deeper lines on his youthful face. "What if people start to hate us?" Tom's heart ached at the thought. Hated for trying to help? Would they become the pariahs of their community? "They can't hate us if we keep showing our support and fighting for what's right. We can't change their minds overnight, but we can build this garden, push through the negativity and show them the impact we want to have." Jessica nodded, a flicker of hope appearing in her eyes. "We'll need to be transparent. Share our plans, our reasons. Maybe host a gathering so people can see we're genuine." Just as she spoke, another buzz interrupted them. This time Tom picked up his own phone. A message flashed on the screen from an unknown number. "I know what you're planning. Don't think you can fool everyone." Tom's fingers trembled slightly. "Who is this?" he muttered, his blood running cold. "Tom?" Jessica asked, seeing his pale expression. "It's a message someone's threatening us," he said, voice barely above a whisper. Noah's eyes widened. "What do they mean, fool everyone?" The atmosphere shifted, turning heavy with a new gravity. Tom glanced at his family, resolve mixing with fear. Their new path was being challenged in ways they had never prepared for. Whatever it is, he said, staring at the tempting message on his screen, we need to confront this head-on. We're not alone in this. But could they truly face the shadows lurking in their own town? And what new challenges awaited on the horizon? The ground beneath them felt uncertain, shifting faster than they could figure out each new layer. As they breathed in the tension, another message pinged in. This time a clearer voice, a local acquaintance. People are talking. Be ready for a meeting tomorrow. The community wants to discuss your intentions. The stakes had not only raised, they had leapt into a storm. Would they stand together? Or would the cracks start to show? Tom felt the room constrict around him, the air thickening with every second. Jessica's face mirrored his unease. A meeting? She echoed, her brow furrowing in disbelief. What do they want to discuss? Probably us, Tom sighed, running a hand through his hair. Our plans are win everything. He looked over at Noah, who was still clutching Jessica's hand. I didn't think it would turn into this so quickly. No one really does, Jessica replied, sadness creeping into her voice. I thought we could bring people together, show them the good we wanted to do, but instead we're the topic of gossip, Noah interjected, frustration bubbling up. It's not fair. Tom knelt in front of his son, trying to meet his gaze directly. I know it's not, buddy. Isn't fair at all. But we can't lose hope. This could be our chance to show them who we are. Jessica glanced at Tom, her expression shifting from concern to determination. We need to prepare then. If they want answers, we have to give them the truth, she said. We owe it to ourselves and to our community. A sudden resolve settled in Tom's chest. Okay, let us put together a plan. We'll list everything we want to accomplish with the money and how we mean to do it. Transparency. Honesty. No more hiding. Noah nodded slowly, an idea lighting up his eyes. What if we invite people to see what we're doing firsthand? What if we show them the garden ourselves? Yes. Jessica brightened, and the warmth of her belief eased some of the tension. We can host a community day. Barbecue, games, tours of the garden setup, let them see how they can be involved. Tom felt the power of their unity flow through him. Let us do it. We'll make it a welcoming space. As they brainstormed, ideas buzzed around the room like fireflies. What started as an oppressive weight began to transform into something hopeful. They wrote down every possibility, the sound of pens scratching paper mingling with laughter and purpose. But as the evening pressed on, a chill slipped back in. Another message pinged Tom's phone, jerking him from their creative planning. You can't hide. We are watching. And there will be consequences for your actions. He swallowed hard, feeling the knot in his stomach tighten. Guys, it's not just gossip. This feels more serious. Jessica's excitement dimmed slightly, replaced by a wary eye. What does that mean? It means we have more to prepare for than just the meeting, Tom said, his voice grave. Noah glanced back and forth between them, his young face quivering. What if they're really angry? Jessica squeezed his hand tighter. Then we stand together. We can't let fear control us. Tom nodded, though doubts trickled in. Standing together was one thing, but facing whispers turning into roars was another. They had hoped for acceptance, compassion, unity. What if instead they encountered hostility? The next day arrived, pregnant with anticipation. The thought of the meeting loomed large in Tom's mind, along with the ominous messages hanging over them like dark clouds. They drove to the community center, where a crowd was gathering. Layouts had been organized, yet an air of uncertainty surrounded them as they approached the gathering. Tom noticed murmurs and watchful stares. There was fear. There was hesitation. Whatever happens, he whispered to Jessica and Noah, we stick to our truth and show them who we are. But before they could step forward, someone burst out of the crowd, voice cutting through the noise. So tell us then, are you really just here to help? Or is there a hidden agenda? It was the question that would unravel everything they'd prepared. Would they face the crowd bravely, or would their intentions be questioned even further? The moment hung in the air like a taut string, ready to snap. Tom's heartbeat quickened at the accusation. He looked at Jessica, her face pale but resolute. Noah's grip on her hand tightened even more, the tension radiating off him like an electric current. Come on, let us face this together, Tom urged, taking a step forward. As he did, he felt a patchwork of eyes boring into him, curious, suspicious, waiting. Yes, we're here to help, he shouted, voice steady despite the nerves coursing through him. We believe in this community. That's why we started the garden project. The crowd shifted. Some nodded, others still looked skeptical. A tall man stepped out from the front, crossing his arms, an unyielding expression on his face. But do you expect us to trust you when all we've seen are your faces in the headlines? You just won a fortune. Tom's chest tightened. Was everything they had done overshadowed by doubt? We know it's a lot to take in. This isn't just about money for us. We want to make a difference, he said, searching for sincerity in his words. Jessica stepped up beside him, her determination glowing. We've poured our hearts into this. We want to create a space for everyone, a garden for growing food, a playground for our children, a gathering place for neighbors to come together. Please just let us show you. The murmurs grew louder. It felt like waves crashing against a shore. The tall man raised an eyebrow, still unconvinced. But what are your true intentions? You expect us to believe your generosity isn't just a cover for something more? The question hung in the air like smoke, thick and suffocating. Tom inhaled sharply. He had anticipated resistance, but the weight of that doubt felt like a heavy burden on his shoulders. Just look at us, Noah spoke up, his innocent voice piercing through the tension. We're just a family. We want people to be happy and safe. Please give us a chance. A few heads turned, their expressions softening as they looked at the boy, earnestly pleading for understanding. Tom felt a flicker of hope. Maybe the warmth in their hearts could reach the crowd. I never believed in you, thinking you were too good to be true, came a voice from the back. A woman stepped forward, her brow furrowed with concern. But if you're willing to show us what you're doing with our money, I want to see it. Yes, Jessica exclaimed, a bright spark igniting in her eyes. Let us have a community day. We'll show you everything, the garden, the plans, and how you can be a part of it. The crowd remained quiet, weighing the proposition. Tom took a deep breath and continued. We'll provide food, activities for the kids, and a chance to connect. This is about all of us, not just us. A low murmur rippled through the crowd, this time more accepting. Faces that had been twisted with doubt now glanced at each other with curiosity. Perhaps the barriers were starting to fade, letting a glimmer of light in. As their conversation evolved, Tom felt the energy shift. Hopes began to rise like tender shoots breaking through ground frozen with skepticism. One by one, people began to nod, and channels of conversation started flowing more freely. Okay, the tall man relented, his posture loosening slightly. Show us what you've got. Relief washed over Tom, yet the weight of the ominous message still lingered in the back of his mind. Was this truly a turning point or just the calm before the storm? As the crowd dispersed, discussions unfolding around community day plans, Tom's phone buzzed once more in his pocket. He hesitated, knowing who might be behind it. With a reluctant sigh, he pulled it out. Don't get too comfortable. You've made your choice, and now we will too. Tom's heart sank. Even as hope crackled to life, shadows lurked close behind. Hey, Jessica said softly, a frown in her eyes. What's wrong? You look pale. He locked eyes with her and back at Noah, feeling torn. I think we may have more to fight for than we realized. What awaited them in this battle for trust? Would they reveal their true selves or be undone by the very shadows they sought to escape? Tom's fingers shook as he stared at his phone. The words on the screen morphed into a jumbled mess, a chilling reminder that the danger lurking just out of sight had not dissipated. Jessica's worried eyes held his gaze. A mix of concern and uncertainty mirrored in her expression. I'm fine, Tom lied, swallowing back the unease that threatened to spill over. It's just a lot, you know? He placed the phone back into his pocket, but the weight remained, pulling him deeper into a pit of dread. What's next? He asked, forcing himself to focus on the moment. He could feel the energy of the crowd, cautious but undeniably curious. We need a plan for the community day that proves we're genuine. Exactly. Jessica's smile was a fragile beacon in the swirling storm of anxiety. Let us brainstorm activities that bring everyone together. What about a gardening workshop, a potluck? We can already make the space feel alive. Noah piped up, his excitement contagious. Can we have a treasure hunt? It can be fun to find seeds and plant them together. His innocent enthusiasm lit sparks of inspiration. Tom gave a soft chuckle. A treasure hunt sounds like a perfect way to engage families. As they discussed potential activities, it felt like shackles were slowly loosening. The shared laughter around a table, the exchange of ideas, it all felt so real, so right? But each chuckle was weighed against the unseen threat that lingered in the shadows. Later that afternoon, they gathered in their small kitchen. Blueprints and notes sprawled out on the table like a roadmap to a new beginning. Tom's mind raced with plans and possibilities, but every time he thought of the message looming in the background, fear clawed at his focus. Do you think our past will always follow us? Jessica asked quietly, her voice breaking the rhythm of their brainstorming. She was stirring a pot on the stove, the aroma of garlic filling the air, but her eyes were distant, lost in thought. I don't know, he replied honestly. I hope not. I hope what we start here can cover up what we left behind. Noah watched them, sensing their solemn moment. The smile melted from his face, replaced with an adult-sized awareness of the stakes at hand. Are we really helping? Or is this just a distraction? His question hung like a low fog, heavy and serious. Tom glanced at Jessica, who nodded slowly as if she was sharing the same thought. It has to be real. For us, for them. We can't let our past define this community or us. Noah chimed in again, his young voice breaking through the cloud. But when will the bad stuff stop? The question tugged at Tom's heart. He wanted to sweep his son into his arms and say it'll all be okay. But how could he promise that? By the end of Community Day, he replied. His voice steadied with determination. Noah, today we're fighting for trust, for new beginnings. We'll show them our hearts. That evening they stood outside, staring at the empty lot that would soon transform into their garden. The stars were brilliant against the night sky, but the darkness seemed thicker than usual. Tom could almost hear the whispers of doubts wrapping around him like a cloak. Then, just as a small breeze flicked past, Tom's phone buzzed again. Tom, are you really willing to risk everything for this? There's much more at stake than you think. His pulse raced. Who was sending these messages and what did they know? He looked at Jessica and Noah, committed to the dream but cautious as ever. The shadows seemed deeper, the concerns more real. Why now? He muttered under his breath, clenching his fists. Jessica turned to him, brows knitted in confusion. What is it? With determination in his eyes, Tom resolved, I might have more enemies than I thought. But we will not let fear win. As they gazed once more at the lot before them, the weight of the unknown pressed down like a blanket. What could they uncover in their fight for redemption, and what would it take to truly start anew? In that moment, hope and dread battled for control, leaving the question of fate hanging ominously in the air. What awaited them as they took their first steps into the Community Day? Would the means justify the ends? The day dawned bright and hopeful. Tom looked out at the lot transformed by his family's hard work, now dotted with colorful tints and laughter echoing in the air. What was once barren had morphed into a vibrant gathering space, filled with the promise of connection and healing. As he prepared for the Community Day, his heart was a mix of excitement and dread. Jessica and Noah were busy decorating. The sweet smell of grilled burgers wafted across the lot, combining with the fresh soil that would soon cradle their garden. Neighbors joined in, their faces softening as they placed flowers in pots, planting seeds of potential with each effort, weaving the community closer together. This was the moment Tom had dreamed of, but even now, the memory of the ominous messages clung to him like a shadow. As the crowd began to gather, Tom felt the rhythm of the day pulse through him. Conversations flowed, laughter erupted, and he could see the skeptical walls starting to break down. But then, just as he was starting to relax, a figure emerged. It was the tall man, the same man who had questioned him at the meeting. Discomfort flared in Tom's gut, but he stood firmly in place, ready to face whatever came next. Tom, the man called. A seriousness etched on his face. Can we talk? The joy around them quieted. Eyes turned, the air thick with tension. Jessica shot Tom a worried look, but he nodded, willing to step forward. Sure, he replied, steadying himself. What's on your mind? The tall man gestured for a more private location, away from the crowd. Listen, I know what happened in the past, but seeing how you've brought people together is commendable. I want to believe you mean well. Tom felt a flicker of hope. We do mean well. That's why we're here, to show everyone that we care. Then let us work together, the man said, his tone softening. I've heard about some projects needing funding. If we combine our efforts, we can do something meaningful for our community. Tom's heartbeat quickened. You're actually willing to help? I thought you didn't trust us. He chuckled slightly, a warmth breaking through his previously hardened facade. We're all learning, Tom. It's hard to change perceptions, but seeing action speaks louder than words. If you're genuine, prove it to us. In that moment, Tom realized that trust wasn't just given. It was earned. Absolutely. Let us plan some initiatives together. Let us let everyone in on our vision. The man nodded, and as he turned to address a nearby group of neighbors, Tom felt the weight in his chest lighten. Maybe they could truly come together. Maybe hope was worth holding on to after all. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue across the gathering, children ran freely, laughter bubbling as they chased each other around the freshly painted playground. Noah raced towards Tom, excitement sparkling in his eyes. Dad, can we plant some of the seeds now? Everyone's ready. Tom knelt down to Noah's level, hope swirling in his heart. Of course, this is your garden too. Let us make it as vibrant as the love we share. Holding hands, they walked towards the newly carved space. The community gathered around them, ready to dig alongside. Hands worked together, shovels cutting into soft earth, smiles painted across everyone's faces. This was the moment he had longed for, the feeling of unity, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. Yet, a reminder of the threats lingered in the back of his mind. Just then his phone buzzed again. He pulled it out slowly, steeling himself for more bad news. But this time, as he read the words, he felt a different weight. Awesome job today. We're watching. And we're not backing down. His heart sank, anger bubbling to the surface. But as he looked around at Jessica and Noah, he reminded himself that they had each other. They had community. The power of family eclipsed the darkness that sought to undermine them. Forget the shadows, Tom, Jessica whispered, coming to stand beside him. Her hand clasped his, grounding him. Look at what you're creating. This is love manifested. He took a deep breath, renewed determination coursing through him. You're right. We'll keep doing what's right, and deal with the past as it comes. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, bathing everyone in a soft glow, Tom felt hope flame anew within him. They were building more than a garden. They were sowing seeds of connection and healing. With each challenge that arose, they would face it together, proving that love and resilience could weather even the darkest storms. And as he surveyed the vibrant scene before him, dancing laughter echoed through the air while fresh soil cradled new beginnings. Tomorrow they would rise again to confront whatever lay ahead, but today was about family, community, and the journey of transformation. This was just the beginning. Now is the time to join the journey. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you won't miss the next exclusive tales. Hit that like button now to fuel the algorithm and keep the magic alive. We want to hear from you. Comment your thoughts and feelings about the ending below. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see these transformations. Together, let us spread the love.